Morning. This is Mornings with Michael. We're brought to you for informational and educational purposes only. And our word of the day is demiurge, the maker or creator of the universe. So let's get to the news. Mornings with Michael is brought to you for informational and educational purposes and sometimes entertainment. So first-time jobless claims rose 264,000, which was above estimates. They were expected to ease to 261,000 versus the 262,000 the previous week. And then May existing home sales, as I mentioned yesterday, this was the reason for the metals, silver and gold to drop. May existing home sales numbers from the National Association of Realtors unexpectedly rose to 4.3 million. They were anticipated to dip slightly to an annualized rate of 4.25 million versus April's 4.28 million. So that's for that news. Let's go to our updates. World news: the Swiss National Bank announced a 25 basis point hike, taking its policy rate to 1.75, in line with expectations. On to sector news breakdown. Tesla went down yesterday and was down initially today. We'll take a look at it later. TSLA downgraded to equal weight from overweight at Morgan Stanley on valuation. KB Homes, KBH, quarter two EPS 194, tops consensus 133. Revenues rose 26% year over year. Overstock, OSTK, shares rise 10% pre-market after winning an auction for Bed Bath & Beyond's intellectual property. Digital assets for $21.5 million during a bankruptcy run auction. Steelcase, SCS, quarter one, adjusted EPS 9 cents versus estimate 1 cent. Revenues rose 2%. United Natural Foods, UNFI, announces partnership with Relex, RELEX Solutions to enhance demand planning capabilities and procurement efficiencies. Energy, industrials, and materials, Alcoa, AA, downgraded to underweight from equal weight at Morgan Stanley. Gulfport Energy, GPOR, announces offering of 1.3 million shares of common stock for holders. Spirit Aerosystems, SPR, said it will suspend factory production at its plant in Wichita, Kansas. And the company said after workers rejected a proposed 4-year deal and announced a strike to begin June 24th. Financials, Root, ROOT, shares jumped late Wednesday after the Wall Street Journal reported embedded insurance offered $19.34 a share for the company, but hasn't managed to negotiate a deal. Equinix, EQIX, downgraded to perform from outperform at Oppenheimer. Healthcare, Alovir, ALVR, $20 million share spot secondary priced at 3.75. Avid Biosciences, CDMO, quarter four EPS 0, in line with consensus. Quarter four revenues 39.8 million versus 38.9 million. Trupanion, TRUP, extended yesterday's losses and California objection to rate increase. Reviva Pharmaceuticals, RVPH, announced 80% global enrollment update for pivotal phase 3 RECOVER, RECOVER, study evaluating brilaroxazine for schizophrenia. Enrollment ongoing at multiple sites in the US, Europe, and Asia. Finally, in technology, media, and telecom, Accenture, ACN, quarter three adjusted EPS $3.19 versus estimate $3.04. Applied Optoelectronics, AAOI, entered into a supply agreement, the SOW number 2, with Microsoft MSFT, pursuant to the company will provide certain design services and assembly services of goods in accordance with Microsoft's specifications. Logitech, LOGI, board approves new $1 billion buyback program. And finally, Double Verify, DV, announced an expansion of its quality solutions with Meta, META, to enable media measurement and help maximize advertiser performance on Facebook and Instagram Instagram Reels. And if you didn't hear it, Elon Musk challenged the CEO of Meta, Facebook, to a cage match. And they both agreed. So we'll have to keep looking forward to that to happen. And that's our news there. Let's go to our screen. First, I'll bring up our heat map. Yesterday, technology was down. Back over here, share my screen. Technology is recovering, not all of it, but Microsoft and Apple. Semiconductors remain down this morning. AMD was up earlier, 1%, but it is now down again. Google and Meta and communication services are down. Amazon is up. Tesla is down slight. It has recovered somewhat. Consumer defensive is up. Healthcare is up. And it looks like the rest of the market is down to unchanged. And once again, I start every day by looking at our annuities example. Either annuity or index universal life, I think, is what everyone should be into. And you can see that an annuity, once it steps up in value, it does not step down, whereas the indexes do. And this is why the average annual growth of annuity is 12.58% to 7.57% for the indices. And I think everybody should have this basic coverage before they invest in stocks. So that's that. Go to our screens. We're looking at Allegro Microsystems and Semiconductors. Had a huge volume on this up day. Just a slightly pullback here. We'll continue to watch that. Look at our dollar. After moving up 2 days, it hit a ceiling when it bumped up against the 10 and 20-day moving average. I was pulling back very strongly. Take a look at gold, sold off strong. And with the dollar pulling back, it's surprising that gold hasn't hit a bid here. Silver is trying to bounce back, bouncing off of its 200-day moving average. My feeling is with all the silver being used to make EV batteries, that silver should be going up. We'll just see after our Great Recession comes through how silver performs. And copper, which is also a big component of EV batteries, bouncing here. These are some of our copper mining issues. So let's look at our bond yields. Oh, look at, they're really bouncing off of the 20-day moving average. This would be a reason for some indexes to sell off. Bouncing up to 3.789%. 20-year bouncing off of its 50-day moving average. The 1 to 3 year bond is selling off, so the yields are up again. Interesting, it was selling off these 2 days and it bounced back, so the yields pulled back. Bitcoin, which had a great day yesterday, is pulling back. It's off 1.12%. I believe it was up over 5% yesterday. Ethereum pulling back as well. Looks like it's trying to pull back to its 50-day moving average. Let's look at a volatility index. It's up early this morning and is retreating after hitting its 10-day moving average. Seems like the 0-day options are taking over for our fear index, but we'll continue to watch it. S&P 500 looks like it's trying to stabilize here. The NASDAQ is bouncing off of its 10-day moving average and a 3-day pullback here. Looks like the 50-day is trying to catch up a little bit, but it's still a huge gap here between where the index is and where the 50-day moving average is. As I said before, professional money managers do not like to see it when the index is this far above the moving average. Take a look at our small cap index. Going back to the 20-day moving average. Got quite a pullback here. And Dow with industrials moving up yesterday. The Dow hasn't done too much. Take a look at our ETFs, major ETFs. Financials continue to sell off, as does energy. US oil prices pulling back. Google and Meta, big portion of this, so they continue to pull back. They're pulling back to the 20-day moving average. As you can see, they've had quite a run. Utilities pulling back. Our biotech index pulling back, but it looks pretty healthy. It's trying to stay at its 20-day moving average as the 50-day moving average catches up here. We'll see in a few days if it's able to get back into this blue area. Our other index, which has been weaker, is trying to maintain above the 200-day moving average. Software is trying to get a bounce to stay at its 10-day as their 50 and 20-day try to catch up. Same with their technology index, looks almost like the same index as software. Infrastructure remains pretty strong. It's trying to bounce off of its 10-day and remain in the blue buy zone. Continue to watch that. Semiconductors were pulling back, trying to, right now it looks like it's staying between the 10 and 20 day. See if it can remain up there. Airlines remain pretty strong. So United Airlines and Delta are the two strongest in the airline. Out of the office leisure activities, Airbnb remains pretty strong here and pretty tight consolidation above all of its moving averages. Amazing that this continues, this industrial ETF continues to beat up on the Dow Jones. This is actually pretty strong where the Dow Jones looks weak. Building materials, going to pull back to its 20 and 50-day moving average. Mining and metals, trying to stay above its 50. And this is where all the heavy action has been. Home builders continues to shine in a rising interest rate environment, which is really interesting. See if we can see where the big money is moving today. Overstock, which was in the news, gapping up. Yeah, they won a bid for the Best Buy intellectual name, I guess. Roy Evant Sciences breaking out. Develops tech-enabled healthcare biopharmaceutical that develops late-stage drug candidates. Interesting. Drill, pretty strong with strong volume over here. You see it broke out of this consolidation pattern. Commercial metals breaking out here. This is pretty close to a shelf pattern here. A bit of a pullback. Shows strong institutional buying here. 2 days in a row. Even with the earnings coming out decreasing 23%, but obviously it's much stronger than people anticipated. Madrigal Pharmaceuticals up 5%. Still is below all of its moving averages. That might be a watch candidate. Interpack Tool Group breaking out along with the infrastructure ETF that we were looking at earlier. This is something to watch. We had huge volume over here. Earnings came in at 144% increase, and that was a 30% surprise. Hashi Corporation, not much going on there, but let's take a look at Super Micro. Was up yesterday and then sold off towards close. Now it's bouncing off its 20-day moving average. Pretty good volume. And finally, Coherent. Had a big run here, pulled back on 1 day, gap down, and now is up another 4.5%. Take a look what's moving down. iRobot down 8.5%. Wow, look at that nasty falling knife. Avid Bioservices down 13%. Yeah, that was huge volume on all of that going on. Also, some pretty huge volume selling here. Cerence, immersive automobile software, keep drivers and passengers safe, informed, and entertained. We'll just have to wait and see if this is news related. Spirit Aero Systems gapping down. I believe that was in the news. Manufactures fuselage, propulsion, wing systems for commercial, military, and business jet aircraft, down 10%. Genulux, clinical stage biopharmaceutical company intended to develop cancer therapy and drugs, off 10% today. Had a nice run here, but it looks for the moment to be over. AB Home, interesting. Well, it's only off 1.38%. We've had a huge run here along with the other home builders. Look at a couple local Alameda companies. Looks like Excel is trying to bounce here off of their 50-day moving average, Celsius. And Penumbra just keeps climbing. Medical devices for brain and other conditions. I'll continue to watch that. And that's our report for today. This has been Mornings with Michael for informational and educational purposes only. If you have any personal finance questions, feel free to give us a call. I think there was one other issue that I wanted to take a look at. This one was breaking out yesterday. Intracellular therapies develop small molecular drugs to treat neuropsychiatric and neurological disorders. So continue to watch that. Pretty good volume yesterday. And once again, that's our report. Continue to work on your goals. Go out there and continue to astound yourself with great activities to meet those goals. And if we can help you with meeting your financial goals, please DM us or contact us. We'll be happy to assist. This has been Mornings with Michael for informational and educational purposes only.